Coming up tonight, ladies and gentlemen, it's the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time. We've got our top story, which is John Cena joining the Nexus. We go in-depth on TNA's premier pay-per-view event of the year, Bound for Glory, and Be the Booker returns for this Sunday's Bound for Glory live on pay-per-view. All that on top of hot news, top 5, 10 best, viewer mail, and fan of the week. This is the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time.
And now, celebrating 13 years on the air, this is the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time with David Hero, Frank Cosentino, Linda Kay, the man they call Meathead, and Damian Nelson. All the latest from World Wrestling Entertainment, total nonstop action wrestling, and more. This is the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time for Friday, October 8th, 2010. Damian Nelson sitting here alongside David Octavius, the Tiberius Hero. And what a week it is going to be. Be the Booker coming up for Bound for Glory. Our coverage of Bound for Glory started last night with our live special edition post-TNA Impact. And how about that live impact and reaction last night from TNA Wrestling?
Interesting stuff. It only makes BFG that much more complex and interesting.
And we're still going to do the Be the Booker segment, as I said, for TNA's Bound for Glory this Sunday. And we're going to be live, David, right after Bound for Glory as well. More information on that coming up in this program. But our top story this week is the newsworthy item from last week's WWE Raw and Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. There is a new member of the Nexus, and his name is John Cena. John Cena losing...
There's 3 new members of Nexus. There's Husky Harris.
Only 2 announced as
and
official
Joe Hennig.
Members of the Nexus.
I think Husky Harris is a big signing for them.
You just keep trying. They didn't say he was part of Nexus.
Oh, he's part of... They didn't beat him up. They didn't kick him out of the locker room.
He wasn't even there on Monday.
He was in the locker room Monday night.
How do you know?
I saw him. Let me guess,
John
your
Cena
monitor was out, huh?
Yeah, my monitor went out. John Cena losing to Wade Barrett at WWE's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and the stipulation of that matchup was if John Cena lost, he would have to join Nexus. And we found out, David, that not only would he have to pretend to join Nexus, but he would have to go full bore, join Nexus, follow the orders of Wade Barrett, or be fired by the Raw general manager.
How funny is that? I mean, how ridiculous is that?
Well, they're enforcing the rule. They do it every time they set rules.
Right, but there is
Follow
no
to a
way.
T.
I mean, put it this way. Unless John Cena was sleeping with Linda McMahon, would Vince ever want to fire him?
Oh, yeah.
And I'll be honest, I even think he'd fire him because of that. He makes too much money for that company. They'll never fire him. Why even say something that stupid?
Why are you reading so deeply into it? The fans, the same ones that cried on Sunday night and had that look of shock and awe on their face on Sunday after Cena lost, believe that there's a chance he gets fired. So in their mind, it's justified that John Cena is going to the dark side, the evil side.
But he's not going to be a heel. He may eventually get there, but right now he's not going to be.
Was this the storyline injection that WWE needed? Meaning, is this building enough intrigue in the overall product that now WWE Raw is potentially going to become must-see TV?
No, because right off the bat, John Cena's like, I'm going to try to destroy from the inside. If they would have been smart about it, they would have brought Cena in. He would have came out with a Nexus T-shirt. He would have been the team player, but then slowly and secretively screw Nexus along the way.
Over a several month period?
Yeah, well, even over a couple weeks or anything. Just be sneaky. I mean, make him look like he's smarter than them. Now he just looks like a big oaf.
And a crybaby.
Cry baby.
So but this certainly has built intrigue.
For who?
The fans out there, they want to see what
8-year-olds?
John Cena's going to do. Well, those are the ones who are dragging the parents to the TV screen to watch as well. There you go, cynical.
I'm not cynical. I'm being honest.
I don't know if you guys have picked this up. It's Mick Foley's latest book, The Countdown to Lockdown.
It's a great book.
I understand that you're in this book, David Hero.
I am in that book.
Oh.
Because I'm pretty honest.
We're going to read those comments. Oh, matter of fact, what the heck? We're going to read it now. Let me go to page 159. I think that's where I'll find it.
It's a whole chapter.
This Mick Foley's latest book coming out called The Countdown to Lockdown, where he talks about the Lockdown pay-per-view from 2009. This one dated April 8, 2009, a chapter entitled Countdown to Lockdown 11 Days. And I quote, "I'm 2 days into what is quite possibly the worst vacation of my life. Do you have any idea how sick I have to feel in order to bail out on a Busch Gardens visit? Something up in Milwaukee must have really disagreed with me. Something far worse than promoter Dave Hero's constant disapproval of the recent TNA product. I've known and liked Dave for years, and he's picked up many a dinner tab over the years, but man, talk about a downer."
Whoa, keep reading.
No, you like Fox News so much, so I'm going to take it totally out of context.
Keep reading. There's more. Come on, you know I'm right.
And I continue to quote, "It's not as if he didn't have valid points,
Valid.
even if some of them were nitpicking. This close to bench time, less than 2 weeks, I try to keep everything positive, blocking out anything negative, no matter how valid that feedback might be. I don't check the internet, look at newsletters, ask for opinions, nothing. I'm just happy living in a little bubble of contentment, not really caring which side of that self-confidence, self-delusional line I fall on."
Now this was, of course, right before his lockdown.
One-page chapter, April 8, 2009.
Dedicated to this guy. Well, hold on.
You're cynical.
Hold on.
Mick Foley's book, pick it up. It's available now.
This isn't the only PWR guy in the book.
Meathead's in there?
No. Page 99?
Listen, I think that page 99 thing happened by chance.
Page 99. Cameraman zoom.
Thank you, Shiki.
Right here. Damian Nelson. Sitting ringside. Next to Dixie Carter's husband.
I was feared for my life, not because of Dixie Carter's husband. There's Mick
How
Foley
about
and
that?
Kurt Angle are coming in.
How about that? Just saying.
I bet you'd rather just have your picture.
I would rather have just had the picture, but you know what? I said what I said, and sometimes what I say gets me in trouble, but I said it, and I meant it.
A phrase I like is, "It is what it is."
Well, I prefer it'll prove itself.
Now, I think it's important to note, though, that was over a year ago.
That was 2 years ago.
That was dated in 2009.
It was, yeah, over a year ago.
So just saying.
What can you do about it? I've been that negative for that long?
And including tonight as we talk about John Cena joining Nexus.
Not negative, I'm just saying they should have presented it differently.
Should we get out the whiteboard for that early?
We did that last week.
And it all fell into place somewhat like that. Randy Orton now going up against Wade Barrett at the Bragging Rights pay-per-view.
And you know John Cena's going to be involved somehow. He'll be in his corner.
Special enforcer, jacket holder, curtain jerker. How long can this go? How long can this storyline go with Cena being a part of Nexus, not wanting to be a part of Nexus? Does it lead into a Cena-Barrett matchup at either the Royal Rumble or WrestleMania?
I could see it go through WrestleMania, but I could see John Cena as in Nexus against The Undertaker at WrestleMania. I could see that happening.
Interesting.
I mean, who knows? I mean, they change their mind, every time they sneeze. I mean, they could, in 2 weeks from now, they could, have a match and say that if Cena wins, he's out of Nexus.
That is true.
If they're going to do it, they got to commit. They got to put Cena in the Nexus t-shirt. Just a little armband's not going to do it.
But then how are they going to sell all those Purple People Eater shirts?
They'll still sell them.
Really?
Absolutely. Because the fans will still love Cena so much, they'll still buy the t-shirts.
Even if he's not wearing them?
Yes.
The t-shirts, the hats, the armbands, the wristbands.
Put it this way. They put an Austin 316 or NWO t-shirt amongst everything else, they'll still sell those shirts, and no one's wearing those right now.
All right. Well, John Cena is a part of Nexus. We'll see how this storyline develops. It was interesting, though, in WWE Hell in a Cell, and if you did not yet, be sure to check out this past Tuesday's. It was a Taboo Tuesday edition of the Pro Wrestling Report on 540 ESPN. Jeff Jarrett was our guest. And
No. Jeff Jarrett was your guest. I had nothing to do with it.
We talked about WWE's Hell in a Cell pay-per-view, and as a matter of fact, we did a full 1 hour long wrap-up show, post-show, right after the pay-per-view on Sunday, so be sure to check that out at pwrshow.com, where we talked about how smart was it to show, right before the Cena-Barrett match, a promo for bragging rights with Nexus as part of the logo.
Well, they have to. They have a lot of money invested in that.
Yeah, but it gave away the match.
Not really.
Totally it did.
It's
It absolutely gave it away.
But that poster has been out for a while.
It has been.
Yeah.
But if Nexus had the chance of disbanding, why would you promote a pay-per-view with a Nexus?
Because they could always change the poster the next day. Why do you read so much into this? Jeez.
Page 159, Countdown to Lockdown. It's a hardcore journal by Mick Foley.
New York Times best-selling author, Mick Foley.
Something far worse than promoter Dave Hero's constant disapproval.
Yeah. Thanks, pal.
It's time for some viewer mail and the lovely Linda Kay.
And now it's time for our viewer mail. First viewer mail comes from Tom Doble. Tom says, the last few weeks I've enjoyed the segments on Raw with Edge and the GM. There have been quite a few classic moments in this storyline. Now that Edge has gone to SmackDown, do you think that the storyline is dead? Or do you think it will continue in some form on SmackDown? Now let's take it over to your analysts, David Hero and Damian Nelson.
Well, David, Edge traded to SmackDown last Monday night on Raw. I don't see how it can continue.
Absolutely, it can't continue. I mean, it's a different show.
Now he's gone.
That
so
keyboard's not going to show up on Sci-Fi. Well, it could. That would make sense.
if it was still SCI 5.
Yeah. You know, it's kind of like Randy Moss going to the Vikings.
Who?
You know that football player? Edge going to SmackDown. It's a big move. It's going to be
He's
very...
done it several times before. He's gone back and forth. It's temporary.
Well, it's always temporary. I wish, they would tell us who was going to be traded for him.
Some are saying the Big Show, some are saying CM Punk.
God, I hope it's not Big Show. But it should be one of those two because that feud's over with.
Why do they need to trade, though? As
No,
you said many a time before, all the stars are on Raw, so why trade?
Big Show's going to stay because he's the freak on Sci-Fi. They built a commercial around him.
They built a commercial around Cody Rhodes as well.
Who?
One half of the unified World Tag Team Champions, Cody Rhodes.
Didn't he lose to Randy Orton?
Well, Randy Orton's the WWE champion.
But you know what? Here's the thing. Randy Orton beat the tag team champions that night, if you really think about it. Once again, they booked the tag team champions to look weak by having Randy Orton diamond cutter both of them.
Edge over on SmackDown. Again, I don't think anybody needs to be traded back. Rey Mysterio's back this Friday night on SmackDown. He's going to wrestle Alberto Del Rio.
The 6'5" Alberto Del Rio.
I thought it was 5'5".
No, he grew a foot in like the last month and a half. He's a star,
I don't think there's much more to this GM storyline, to be honest with you.
You know what? Not at all.
Thank you for that email, Tom. And now let's go to 10 Best with the man they call Meathead.
Welcome to another edition of WCW 10 Best. That's right, we're running down the 10 best WCW moments, WWF moments, Attitude Era moments, Monday Night War moments, and ECW moments. This time we're going to go with my number 5 in the 10 best WCW moments, April 10th, 2000. You didn't know what was going on, but you heard that Sullivan was removed from the booking committee. You also heard rumors that Bischoff and Russo were going to work together. How is this going to happen? I mean, those two butted heads forever. Well, they started off the show with all the talent gathered around the ring, new ring apron, new ring ropes, and they said, fresh start, relaunch. We're going to do the whole thing over again. We're tired of the same people over and over and over. So not only did we see Mike Awesome show up that night, we saw Billy Kidman go after Hulk Hogan. It didn't work out in the end, but it was pretty hot and exciting when it did happen.
Didn't they get bought a year later?
I'm going to do one of these
Just a
segments.
question.
I'm going to do one of these
Just a
segments on my
question.
own where there's no interruption. April 10th, 2000, number 5 of the 10 best WCW moments of all time, the New Blood relaunch.
I don't understand how there could have been 10 best WCW moments. I can't remember 2.
I can't believe you can count to 10.
Well, when it's counted backwards, it's okay.
Yeah,
And it's
I
written
guess.
on the paper.
Oh, so he can read off paper?
We're not talking about that.
You know what? It's like the pink elephant in the room. Sometimes you just have to acknowledge it.
It's time to go in-depth, and coming up this Sunday night on pay-per-view, it's TNA's Bound for Glory, the 6th installment of Bound for Glory. We're going to talk about the event and the history behind the event, which started back in 2005. Some big matchups have taken place on TNA's signature event of the year. And
BFG.
I had the privilege of being at the 2008 Bound for Glory. It was a fun show, a good show, and really, as we talked about with Jeff Jarrett last week, Robert Roode 2 weeks ago on the PWR radio show, it's all about the fan experience for TNA, and they have obviously the fan interaction and several other big things going on for Bound for Glory. A little history of the event. First Bound for Glory event was October 23rd in 2005. The main event of that was Jeff Jarrett versus Rhino for the TNA Championship. Tito Ortiz was the special.
It was the NWA championship, wasn't
At
it?
the time, I think it was, yes. For the Tito Ortiz was the special guest referee in that match. Rhino winning and becoming champion, defeating Jeff Jarrett at Bound for Glory.
How about that?
That show also was dedicated to the Crusher.
God bless you.
I didn't say anything about Haku.
Oh,
Dedicated to the Crusher, who had passed away the night before. So that was the beginning of it all. It happened down in Orlando, Florida.
wait a minute. Bound for Glory and Blizzard Brawl started at the same time.
That is true.
How about that?
Surrounding the same individual.
Yes, the Crusher.
Fascinating.
See, it all makes sense.
That event, several matchups happening. Obviously, we talked about the main event on that matchup. A good show overall. Can I say I remember much more from it than the main event from 2005? No, not really, but still, that was the beginning of it all. And Tito Ortiz, being a part of that event, was a big deal at the time, and it was along the lines of the Chris Rocks and the was it Toby Keith or whoever they've used for some of these special appearances. And next year, we would see a new addition to TNA Wrestling, that in Kurt Angle, who came in to be the special enforcer on the title versus career match, pitting Jeff Jarrett against Sting. And this particular show, Bound for Glory 2, all titles in TNA, I believe there were 3 at the time, change hands, which was the first time ever on a TNA event that had happened. Sting wins the championship and retires Jeff Jarrett for some 2 years until he would return at Bound for Glory in 2008, Bound for Glory 4. Kurt Angle debuting some 4 years ago now in TNA Wrestling, and remember, that was a huge deal because of the circumstances by which he left WWE, and a lot of concerned people, including me, over Kurt Angle going into TNA Wrestling. Obviously, the situation, given his injuries and his workload. Bound for Glory 3 was, again, Sting versus Kurt Angle. Sting winning that matchup and winning the championship. And that was also at that event in 2007 on October 14th where the TNA Women's Championship was introduced. And David Hero, care to remind the world who the first TNA Women's Champion was?
The lovely and talented Gail Kim.
You care to talk about that Divas matchup from Raw this past Monday night? I believe it was Alicia Fox versus Natalya.
No, I thought it was Lay Cool against the Bellas.
That was the second Divas match of the night.
I missed the first 20 minutes of Raw.
So you blinked.
I missed the first 20 minutes of Raw.
If you missed the first 20 minutes of Raw, all you missed was the Cena Nexus thing.
Really?
It
Well,
went
I
30
missed the
minutes.
first 21 minutes of Raw. I told you, I'm not talking about it. Just like you want to talk about other things around here, I am not going to talk about Alicia Fox getting jobbed out in a minute. Former
It wasn't a
ladies
minute.
champion.
It was less than a minute. It was
Okay.
about 42
well,
seconds.
see, here's the thing.
Thing
If it's
is,
under a minute, it doesn't count.
Bound for Glory 2008 coming to Chicago, Illinois. Sting versus Samoa Joe in the main event. Sting winning that matchup. Sting had a very long run of main events on Bound for Glory, and this time winning against Samoa Joe. It was also the return to the ring of Jeff Jarrett. Jeff Jarrett versus Kurt Angle. Mick Foley, who had recently come into the company, was a special guest enforcer for that matchup, and Jeff Jarrett winning that matchup that night in Chicago against Kurt Angle. It was a great match.
It was a fantastic match. Those guys worked hard.
Yeah. And Sting Samoa Joe, by the way, great match as well.
And the amazing thing is, who would have known those two guys were actually wrestling over Karen Angle?
I don't even know if they knew at the time that they were wrestling over
Oh,
Kurt
they
Angle.
knew. Absolutely.
And last year's event, headlined by AJ Styles versus Sting. AJ Styles defeating Sting, and remember, Sting making the decision. Actually, I have to check that. I'm not sure what my matchup, but Sting
AJ
making
Styles.
All right. I don't know why I seem to remember Sting winning.
Well, because it was in California.
Well, but Sting making that decision, not on the pay-per-view, neither on the Impact after, as to whether or not he was going to continue in the business, because he was saying it was going to be his last matchup on that night.
Until he got a new contract extension.
Standout match of the evening, though, probably went to Matt Morgan and Kurt Angle. It was a great match and made Matt Morgan.
I know you're
It's
not.
not my fault they didn't do anything with
I know
it
you're not
after.
feeling well. But really?
David Hero, in my personal opinion, it was a good match.
Okay.
It was the standout match of the
I'm
night.
glad
You
you-
disagree?
I'm glad
What
you
done
like
do you
it.
like about it?
I didn't like it. I like both guys. They just didn't mesh well together.
Really?
Yeah.
Solid build. Matt Morgan proved he could do a lot more in the ring than a lot of people thought.
And where has he gone since then?
That's not his fault.
Yes, it is. If you can't get over, it's your fault.
Really.
Yeah.
In all cases.
I have talked to many a guy that have been saddled with a crappy gimmick, and they find a way to get over. Matt Morgan is talented, genetic freak. I mean, he is
The blueprint?
the blueprint.
All right. I can't say I was prepared to hear that from you this week. I'm just saying.
Well, it's in Mick Foley's book. You should have read that.
What page is that on?
It's
You can't get past 99 half the time.
It's chapter 11 Days to Lockdown. 159, by the way.
We're going to be fantasy booking, if you will, this Sunday's TNA Bound for Glory
Fantasy
pay-per-view,
booking?
if you will.
It's not fantasy booking. It's how it should go.
You know, it's a fantasy. It's a fantasy for a lot of people out there. Next Thursday's radio show.
Pope-alicious.
Thursday PWR, Thursday Pope. It is happening, David.
You know-
Next Thursday, a special night, special time. Thursday PWR, Thursday Pope.
I want to thank everybody out there that has tagged me with the Pope on Twitter, on Facebook, MySpace. You know, this is like the WrestleMania for a lot of people.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. But listen, we're not going to argue. We're not going to fight. We're not going to bash each other. We're two professionals. And if it's my opinion against his opinion, that's all that it is.
Well, it should be interesting to say the least. That's Thursday PWR.
Well,
Thursday
that's
Pope.
if they let me be a part of the interview.
If you listen to radio this past week, you noticed David Hero did not participate in that interview with Jeff Jarrett due to, page 159.
Thanks, pal.
Thursday PWR, Thursday Pope next week.
Once again, it is time for this week's Top 5, brought to you by the man they call Meathead. Number 5 on the Top 5 list will be the man called Michael Cole. You've been number 1 for the last 2 weeks, but you know what? You weren't as funny. You were oversold a little bit too much, so from number 1, you've made it all the way back down to number 5. Number 4 on the Meathead's Top 5 is the tag team of Beer Money. I love what you've been doing in Fortune. Number 4, Beer Money. Number 3, I cannot believe the tag team of Beer Money. Number 3, AJ Styles is going to be number 3 on my list.
AJ Styles, Motor City Machine Guns,
Yeah.
the same blasted top 5 that you've had
Yeah,
for like
so what?
6 weeks.
So what?
Yeah, you know
Yeah.
what? It's not original anymore. You know, it's done. Matter of fact,
Have you met me?
It's done. It's over.
I am no, it's not over. This is my
yes,
say.
it is. Guess what? I just bought it. Take a hike, pal.
I'm
Done.
Unbelievable.
Are you all right?
That's right. Get the stepping.
Get the stepping.
Yeah, this is the cause 5 from now on. Oh, by the way, if you think this is a work, or if this is lame, or it's stupid, you can hit the that forward button. You know, when you're watching this, you know the same one you use when there's movies and you're ready for the money shot. Same one. Use that. You're used to it. For your parents come down. Yeah, I know that one too. All right, here's the deal. Top 5. Okay, what Meathead was the WCW guy, right? Okay. Top 5 wrestlers, WCW, all time. Number 5, Berlin. Number 4, Glacier. Number 3, the Shockmaster. Number 2, the Yeti. Yeah, how about that, the Yeti? And number one's gonna be me. That's right, the cause. I've had this segment. I've waited 10 years for something. It's about time. The cause 5 each and every week here on Primetime. Deal with it, pals.
This week's Fan of the Week is Ryan Roberts of Memphis, Tennessee. Ryan says, I have more of a concern to share after watching the John Cena little kid fan going nuts after Cena lost at Hell in the Cell video. I have been watching wrestling full time and for the past 10 years, ever since I was 9 years old. Not only have I been taught the differences between what's real and fake, I pretty much knew from the get-go. Do you feel WWE should do more to warn people with not only the do not try this at home advertisements, but also tell the people to realize the differences between what's scripted and what's not? I honestly think WWE should go as far as putting up a MTV Jackass-like disclaimer before each program. What are your thoughts, gentlemen?
Thank you, Linda.
You know, we don't thank Linda enough.
Hmm?
We don't thank Linda enough. You know she's going to be at WrestleMania next year. Are you all right?
I'm great. I'm just trying to...
The top 5 kind of threw you, huh?
Ryan Roberts from Memphis, Tennessee, our fan of the week.
He's going to Graceland.
Should WWE put a disclaimer on their programming so kids don't cry when John Cena goes heel?
No. Put a disclaimer on there about not to do the moves at home, but kids are going to cry.
Big kids or little kids?
We
What
were
about
at,
grown women?
hey, how about the jabronis that were crying when Shawn Michaels lost the retirement match?
Can I share something that is potentially embarrassing?
Then why would you do it?
Well, because I'm transparent. 1997, just like our president. 1990.
Oh my gosh, I can see my hand.
I believe it was 1997. When did Shawn Michaels get kicked in the back of the head by Owen Hart? It was on Raw. Remember they hard
Late
sold
90s,
it.
yes.
Raw went out the air or whatever. Do you know what I did the next day?
Did you write him a get well card?
Yeah.
What'd you do?
I called Titan Tower to see if Shawn was okay. I did.
Wow.
I did.
Do you feel better now?
It was 13 years ago.
Yeah, you were 30 then. Come on.
No, how old was I? Ooh, I was 20.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You know what though? But it's good.
Let's go with 19.
Okay.
I certainly called to find, I mean, but they sold it. It looked real. He had just come back from losing
If
his
I were
smile and
you,
injury.
I would edit this part of the show.
I'm not embarrassed. Like my Aldo Montoya fan club t-shirts. I got to bring it next week.
You have
I was the president of the Aldo Montoya fan club. Have you not heard this story?
You wore a jockstrap on your head?
I said t-shirt.
Oh.
1996 here at the Mecca Arena. I met Aldo. Gave him one of the membership cards that we had made for the Aldo Montoya fan club.
Bro.
He took me backstage.
You know why he took you backstage? Because nobody else would have believed him that there's an Aldo Montoya fan club if they went to see the president.
I was the president. It
Yeah.
said it on the card.
Uh-huh.
President.
I'm sure. Why wouldn't it?
Oh, you've never had mark-out moments. You sit here holier than thou, and you've never had mark-out moments.
I've had mark-out moments.
Sure, do tell. A little bit of a counseling session here. Yes, I called Titan Tower to see if Shawn Michaels was
Honestly,
okay.
I don't know. I'm sure I have, but just nothing
Nothing
like
to that.
that.
I ain't afraid of no ghost. What's wrong with that? I'm a fan. If you're a fan, if we're not fans, then why the hell are we sitting here doing this? I wouldn't call today asking if Shawn Michaels was okay. I don't care.
Well, we do because the money's good, first of all.
Our fan of the week is
Ryan Roberts. What if he knows Justin Roberts?
Not from Memphis, he doesn't. Thank you for that email. You too can be fan of the week. Just simply send us an email via our website, pwrshow.com. Comments at pwrshow.com is the email address. And now it's time to talk a little bit more about TNA's Bound for Glory this Sunday night on pay-per-view. It's time for Be the Booker. Well, David, it's that time again. It feels like we're doing this almost every week now. Be the Booker, TNA Bound for Glory this Sunday night. In this segment, we talk about the matchups that are scheduled to happen at Bound for Glory this Sunday night.
Stop. Disclaimer. EPO.
And of course, as usual, these picks for entertainment purposes only. Not the way we feel the show will go, not the way it will go, but the way that
They're
David
not our
Hero sees it, if
predictions.
you will.
It's how I would like to see it go.
All mapped out here on this beautiful whiteboard. I'm glad we were able to loan this out to NXT and get it back in time to do this segment.
Yes.
First matchup we're going to talk about is for the Knockouts Championship. It's a four corners matchup. And you've heard the news. Angelina Love versus Velvet Sky versus Madison Rayne versus Tara. One of these four will walk out of Bound for Glory, TNA's biggest event of the year, the new or the Knockouts Champion.
There's only one clear-cut winner of this whole match.
Velvet Sky sounds great.
No. What, you're purple now all of a sudden? John Cena-ish? Where's your brown crappy picks?
I was offended by that comment you made last
Listen,
week, so I switched
it's all about the money. Tara!
Here comes the money.
Tara is going to leave BFG a new Knockouts champion. And here's why.
Please, do tell.
Even though she is Madison Rayne's bodyguard, it's all been a ruse. Not a Rousseau. Tara used Madison Rayne to reinstate her back into TNA to get involved in this title match to get back the title that was stolen from her by Madison Rayne. Who would
Is
expect
that-
it?
Who can follow that?
Here's the thing.
Hash mark?
Sure. These two are friends.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to feud over the belt?
Why not? That's
No.
all at stake. It's the gold. It's all the
They
marbles.
won't. Okay? Tara. Then she got a program with her, program with Mickey James.
You're saying it?
I'll say it. Mickey James. Absolutely.
What about the other factor in the Knockouts division?
LVE.
Yep.
She'll be there. She may get involved in the match somehow.
Keeps this sort of separate. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To allow this to happen.
To allow this to happen. Tara, the Knockouts champion. Why not?
If where?
Where? She'll show up.
Yeah, but no alignment at this time.
Not yet, no way. Believe me, the money they're paying her, she's a babyface. And finally, she'll have good matches.
I'm still going with Velvet, just to be difficult.
That's you?
I'm doing predictions. You're doing booking.
Right. Okay.
Just to clear that all up. All right. Tag Team Championships on the line. It's the Motor City Machine Guns versus Generation Me. We saw this start last month. Really, already?
Against Hardy's Light.
Really? L-I-T, like, of course.
Light, yeah.
All right. Well, last month at No Surrender, Gen Me, there was nothing light about them as they took out the machine guns and injuring Alex Shelley, who's been out for a while, back to this matchup at Bound for Glory. Motor City Machine Guns versus Generation Me. You say the Guns will defeat Hardy Light.
In a big spot fest.
Is that a problem?
This should be the match that opens the show, because I hate to be the guy that follows this. But on the biggest show of the year, you better showcase your best tag team.
Best tag team?
Best tag team?
Better than Bear Money?
They beat them in a best of 5. They're the best tag team.
I'll give you that. That's fine.
But I mean, if I'm tuning into TNA for the first time, and I see Hardy's Light go over on these guys, what does that tell you?
Why are they Hardy's Light?
These guys are believable. They look like Matt and Jeff when they were like, doing jobs in the
On Shotgun?
on Shotgun. Absolutely.
Shotgun! Saturday night. I would tend to agree with you. There's no reason whatsoever, in my opinion, for them to win that matchup.
Well, then don't gimmick them.
I'm boxing.
Okay.
I go with Motor City Machine Guns as well for my prediction in that matchup. And I say there is nothing wrong with a good old-fashioned spot
Yes.
fest. And it's
If
got to
it's
open the show.
If it's ridiculous, yes.
What do you mean by ridiculous?
If it's too much.
All right. Well, there is no X Division match on
if
this show,
they
so
throw,
would this
if
be
they
it?
throw everything at the audience in the first match, then nothing else on the show is going to mean that much. If they see everything in match number 1.
You don't subscribe to the philosophy that gets a crowd going,
Yeah,
amps
but
a crowd
don't
up.
use everyone's spots and finishes in the first match, because then they've already seen it before.
All right. Monsters Ball. RVD taken out by Abyss and Janice a few weeks back. Several puncture wounds and strawberry syrup. And RVD stripped of the TNA World Heavyweight Championship. This RVD's chance to get some retribution, if you will, against Abyss. And he gets that chance in the Monsters Ball match, David
It
Hero.
doesn't make
It's
a bit of
Abyss's
difference.
match. Really?
Absolutely. And here's why.
I've never disagreed with you so much on a pay-per-view.
2,225,000 staples and stitches.
That many?
And this guy right here. How can he be healthy enough to beat Abyss in his own match?
In this short time he's been away, he's become less of a factor in TNA.
Well, yeah.
Will
because
he
gets
become
out.
even less of a factor, though, if Abyss defeats him in Abyss's match at
No,
Bound for Glory?
no,
This should be
because-
RVD's redemption song.
No, because RVD can beat Abyss on Impact the following week in a regular wrestling match.
That won't matter as much.
Yes, it will. More people will watch the match, and they'll see RVD. If RVD beats Abyss, then wrestling as I know it is fake.
The F word, really?
Because there's no way this monster loses against a guy with over 2 million stitches and staples in his body.
2.25 million.
Yeah.
Now, there's obviously one more factor in this matchup, and that is who will be revealed as they this Sunday night at TNA's Bound for Glory, aligning themselves seemingly with
See?
Abyss.
And that's because they have a lot of money and time involved in Abyss. They do. They put a ton of money into this guy. That's a clock, by the way. I didn't want to do a calendar because you might not know what it is. You know? You know this makes the most sense.
And I hate it when it makes
Much
sense.
like how Kane beat a weakened Undertaker. Do you honestly think RVD is stronger than the Undertaker?
Well, he's on that pharmaceutical stuff.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Make your prediction. I'm just booking the show.
This makes this one well, but you know what though? Isn't this good though? At least for me, because I truly think I see this. It makes sense. But okay, so this if RVD can beat Abyss in his match, even with that makes RVD super strong.
And where does Abyss go then?
Maybe nobody
He's-
cares.
He's done.
Well, isn't RVD done if he doesn't
No,
win this?
because he can beat him on
He's not ready.
in a regular match. Oh, Damien.
I'm not picking. TNA Bound for Glory this Sunday on pay-per-view. I want to remind all of you that we will be live right after TNA Bound for Glory with a special edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Interactive Live, taking your phone calls, your tweets, your comments. We'll be on Blog Talk Radio, streaming live there. So be sure to join us and see what happens if these picks come to light. We still have a few more, so we're going to go through the main event matchups as well for this Sunday's TNA Bound for Glory pay-per-view. Matches we've gone over so far, it's a four corners match for the TNA Knockouts Championship. Tara, the pick of David Hero on that matchup. Me, Velvet Sky. The Motor City Machine Guns versus Generation Me for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. Both of us agree, and the way David Hero books it, it will be the Motor City Machine Guns winning that matchup and retaining the TNA Tag Team Championships. Monsters Ball match, Abyss versus RVD. It's Abyss's match. Abyss is revealing to the world who they are. And this Sunday night, David Hero feels that's going to be enough, or would book it as such, that that's enough for Abyss to defeat a weakened RVD. I'm torn in that matchup, not sure which way to go, but David Hero, there's so much more happening on this card this Sunday night. TNA Bound for Glory on pay-per-view. Big matchups. We've got a lethal lockdown match. We've got that, where'd you get this six-man from? We weren't talking about that.
Oh, there's a six-man on the show.
You're at? All right, fine. We're going to book that too, and the TNA World Championship on the line as well. And let's go down the members of the matchup in that lethal lockdown match representing Team Fortune. AJ Styles, Kazarian, Matt Morgan, Beer Money Incorporated of Robert Roode and James Storm. And on the EV 2.0 side, Tommy Dreamer, Raven, Rhino, Sabu, and Stevie Richards. This the lethal lockdown match. It's a roofed cage where there are weapons hanging from the bottom of the, from the top of the cage, and they are in play. This one, David Hero, has some interesting potential because you see one of these storylines, I would venture to say.
Let me grab my pen here.
Are you really doing this?
This is my side. Come on now.
Unbelievable. It's not bad enough that other guys coming over taking over segments. Now we can't do our switch like it's scripted on here. It's supposed to switch halfway
I didn't
through.
see the pink papers.
Because yours are white.
Oh, okay.
That way we don't get them mixed up.
Okay, I'm ready. There's only one logical choice. In a lethal lockdown match, violence, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be fortune.
Yes! Yes! Good!
Because this is...
Wait, but no. If there was only one choice that makes sense, it's going to be violence, it's going to be crazy. Wouldn't it be the extreme version 2, winning lethal lockdown?
No, because they got the hardcore wrestler on their side. They got Ric Flair. EV2, after BFG, look. They're gone. They were brought in to put Fortune over. That's it. Oh, lethal, whatever.
Speaking of lethal, where's Jay Lethal on this card?
He may be added later.
Rob, Terry, Magnus, exactly. This probably is not the full match lineup, but all we have as of this taping, I think that's important to note. I would agree, this is going to be fun. It's going to be a bit of a mess, though. You got the Monsters Ball match happening as well. Another gimmick here.
Look at all the virgin foreheads on here. You got Kaz, you got Bobby Roode, you got Matt Morgan,
Styles, Storm.
the British fella.
He's not listed as a participant at this point.
Well, he might be added later.
6-man matchup. You just added this one. This one's not on my run sheet, so you've got it listed here as...
Well, I'm surprised your boy the Pope is in this one. Thursday Popalicious.
Just to remind all of you, coming up this Thursday night on PWR Radio, it's Thursday PWR, Thursday Pope. The Pope joins us live on our ESPN radio program this Thursday night, 11 Eastern, 7 Central.
This match is going to be interesting because
Excuse me.
Hogan's beat up.
Well, let's go down the participants. Hulk Hogan, Jeff Jarrett, Samoa Joe, going up against Kevin Nash, Sting, and the Pope. Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting.
There's a lot going on with all these people in this matchup.
Here is where the questions are finally going to be answered.
Really?
They are going to win. And they are going to pin the Pope. Because I do not see any way Nash or Sting are going to do the job. They're going to set up the Pope to be the fall guy. Right here. Hogan, Jarrett, and Joe defeat Nash, Sting, and Pope. And the world will then see who they really are. Unless, you know what? You know Bischoff is going to be included. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if my good close personal friend,
Page 159.
Mick Foley's included. Because you see the way he's been hurt through everything? Whenever they're attacked in the ring, he's the first guy knocked down, never involved in anything. Yeah. This,
It's intriguing.
well,
That's intriguing. This the DHHS moment on the night?
that's the DHHS moment.
This match brought to you by DWHS.
DWHS. JEFF, JARR, ETT. Involved in the DWHS. There's no way Hogan's going to lose in his first pay-per-view in Bound for Glory.
What's their alignment and what's going on with his back?
He's rehabbing his back right now. He'll be fine. It'll all work out in the end.
Six-man.
It's a six. You can hide a lot of stuff in there. But Nash and Sting and Pope. Pope doing the JOB, baby. Yeah, his contract is up next Tuesday.
His as well coming up very soon.
Mm-hmm.
Not in good favor with the company.
Oh, he's fine. They love. If he wasn't in good favor, he wouldn't be in this match right now.
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
This match probably has the most story behind it of
You
any
think
other
so?
match on the card.
I don't know. I think this one has a lot of story to it. This one definitely has a lot of story to it. You know, with
I'm not talking just on-air story. I'm talking just stuff.
backstage
Stuff going
stuff.
on. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That one's interesting.
You don't like it? You think these guys are going to win?
Oh.
I stamped it. That's gold. It's almost sacrilegious to go against me there.
The main event, it's a three-way matchup for RVD's vacated TNA World Heavyweight Championship. One of these men will walk out of the Ocean Center, the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Will it be Ken Anderson, Jeff Hardy, or Kurt Angle?
Let's not forget what the date is on this pay-per-view. It's Ken.
Actually, it's 10.
No, Ben 10 is not Ken 10. Ben 10 is some cartoon. But anyways, before you interrupted me, here's how I see this match ending. Jeff Hardy takes a wicked bump, whether he does a swanton off a ladder or something,
An exclusion bump?
and he crashes and burns. Okay?
See?
Kurt Angle, the good guy, goes to check on him. Make sure he's okay. This guy takes advantage of it because, as we know, that's just the kind of guy he is, and rolls up Kurt Angle for the 1-2-3. And he leaves the Ocean Center as your new TNA World Champion.
Couple things to go over here, though. This man has said, Kurt Angle has said, if he does not win, he will exit. He will be done. He will retire.
Here's the thing.
Hashmark.
He said that back before this entire mess even started. Okay? Right?
Yes.
So, they put him in a bad spot. And I'm sure at Impact, as he comes out to say goodbye to all the fans, Ken Anderson comes out and antagonizes him.
No, but wait. Here's the thing. He said that and made that stipulation to get onto his list of contenders. And if he is aligned with they, couldn't that null and void that whole thing?
It could. But, believe me, It's a great storyline. It'll last a week. He'll be back because the fans are going to want him back to get his revenge on Mr. Anderson, the guy that cheated him, the guy that pulled the shenanigans across all the fans. Now, of course, this is how I would book it. The sexy pick is Kurt Angle should win because otherwise, like you said, he retires. But I think it's far better if Kurt Angle is chasing Ken Anderson than Ken and Jeff chasing Kurt Angle. That's what I would do. Mr. Anderson, you're TNA world champion.
TNA Bound for Glory this Sunday night on pay-per-view. We're going to be live right after the pay-per-view, 11 Eastern, 10 Central, talking about what really happens on that show. So
This really happens.
well, at least this match. I mean, it's the only one stamped, or you stamped the whole page.
No, I just stamped. I can only do one match on a pay-per-view. I can't do the whole thing. It's too
Will
stressful.
10-10-10 be Ken? Will they be revealed as Hogan, Jarrett, and/or Bischoff, and maybe even Mick Foley? Will we see the end of EV 2.0? David Hero, an intriguing pay-per-view, a lot going on in this pay-per-view, a lot of reasons to tune in. That's this Sunday night on pay-per-view, and again, we'll be live right afterwards, 11 o'clock Eastern, 10 Central. Be sure to tune in on our Blog Talk radio channel. I'm intrigued. This pay-per-view just got a whole hell of a lot more interesting after doing this segment.
It did.
Not that it wasn't before, but
I'm going to order this one. I'm not going to use Meathead's box to get a free pay-per-view. I'm going to order this and watch it.
coming up this Thursday night.
Yeah, we can talk to the Pope about him doing the job on the pay-per-view.
Thursday PWR, Thursday Pope.
You are enjoying this way too much. We're professionals. Him and I will see eye to eye. Well, maybe not. He might see, like, here. I'm a little bit taller than him.
Next week on the radio show. Big announcement. Are you ready for this? Are
Sure.
you sitting down?
I'm ready.
Following week, this man,
Kurt Angle?
Kurt Angle.
Well, we can ask him what it was like to retire and come back to wrestling 3 days later. I'll ask the question. I can do that.
Thank you for tuning in to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. We'll see you Sunday night after Bound for Glory with our special wrap-up post-show edition of the Pro Wrestling Report. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you again next week.